You ever just do a little fun costume change so you can pretend you're not filming multiple videos in one day? Hello, my name is Elise and I am here with our basic booktube videos. Today is the worst books of 2021. I'll say it's more the worst slash most disappointing books. I actually don't have a lot of books that I have finished and would call bad, because if a book is bad, I usually don't finish it, and if I don't finish a book, I don't count it as a book I've read. So it's actually pretty hard to come up with this list because I really did not have a lot of books that I rated only 1 or 2 stars. But I tried my best. I squeezed out as much as I could, but this is going to be a list of 10 of the most disappointing and bad books of 2021. If you have heard me talk about some of these books on my social media, you'll recognize that a lot of them are from the book club I run, Rewind Book Club. So join my book club. We read terrible books and it's quite fun. But yeah, a lot of these books, some of them, okay, half of them are books that were like genuinely disappointing and bad. Half of them were books that I knew were going to be bad and I read for my book club, which is basically just like throwback books from the early 2010s, YA books from that era. So some of them, even though they were like bad books, they were actually kind of fun to read because I knew they were going to be bad. So yeah, some of this video is going to be angry ranting because books were terrible, and some it's going to be like angry ranting, but the fun version because I knew they were going to be terrible. But let's get into it. These 10 books are not in any particular order. They're just basically the order that I read them in. But yeah, they're bad. Let's get to it. Book number 1 is Beautiful Creatures. I read this for my book club. It was terrible. I did not want to read it because it's like this thick. The audiobook was 18 hours or something incredibly long like that. Horrible. It was not an enjoyable experience. Gosh, I wish I could listen to that audiobook faster than 3 times speed because, oh, what a waste of time it was. I cannot tell you what Beautiful Creatures was about, even though I finished the entire thing, because I tried to block it from my memory. I will say this, it is written by 2 women, and the main character is a man, a terrible, terrible man. Well, boy, I guess, is a teenager. And boy, did that book set back feminism centuries. I mean, really, I don't know how that was allowed. Sorry, I just got distracted because I saw something in the corner and it was literally just snow. But yeah, it was not great. The main character was horrible. It was so misogynistic. There was also a lot of fat shaming. It was racist. It was like little racial undertones that were not great at all. The plot I didn't care about. The relationships were so cringy. I mean, really, the entire book can just be summed up as hateful, like stereotypical boy, like the kind of boy where people go, ah, boys will be boys, that kind of guy. And the female love interest was the hot, skinny, not like other girls kind of person. I mean, it was dreadful. Do not recommend. Terrible. Do not read. It wasn't even fun to hate read it. It was just an awful, awful experience. Book number 2, Shatter Me. I wrote a review for this. It was a scathing, angry review. 1 star, obviously. I actually read this years ago when I was in middle school and actually really loved it. And then I reread it and I was hoping I'd still love it. And oh gosh, did I not love it. Oh my goodness. It was terrible. I think I'll save some of my breath and y'all should just read my review because I linked it down below. But oh, it was awful. I will say I gave both Beautiful Creatures and Shatter Me 1 star, but Shatter Me was more fun to like hate read. I was like fiery angry, like passionately angry about it. Beautiful Creatures, I literally like I just lost brain cells and I like had nothing productive to write in a review. I just like had nothing for it. Shatter Me, oh my gosh, many points. I hated it so much. The writing style was terrible. The audiobook was terrible. All the scritchy scratchies were terrible. If you haven't read it, basically there's just like scratch outs as if a person was writing in a diary. Awful. Our main character, terrible and whiny. Literally, tell me why this girl, page 1, she's like locked up in prison and her only thoughts are, you put me in jail with a hot man. I mean, look, awful. I mean, really, really just so bad. The love interest made me want to scream. Oh, the main character, Juliet. Oh, awful, awful, awful. This poor girl just had nothing in her mind except men. when everyone's dying and when I'm a weapon of mass destruction, oh, yeah, no, it was really bad. There was a lot of instances of Juliet having to get changed, and she's like, but there's guys here. I can't believe I read that in middle school. Awful, 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 awful. Book 3, Plain Bad Heroines. I actually started this book in 2020 and I didn't finish it until January 2021. And it goes to show that it was bad because it took me months and months to read, so many months that I had to bring it into a new year to finish it. But I only finished it because I had an arc of it, and it was not just the arc that got me through that book. I tried reading some of the arc and then I couldn't do it, and then I had to get an audiobook after the book was published, and then I also downloaded a ebook from my library to finish it. I mean, like, I literally needed 3 different formats to finish this book. It was so long. It did not need to be that long. Honestly, a lot of these books, I feel like if the authors just chopped out like 200, 300 pages, they would have been more bearable. Maybe not better, but more bearable. Oh, why did it have to be that long? I was really looking forward to this book too. It was not a book I was expecting to dislike. I wanted to like it more than I liked the other book of Emily M. Danforth, or whatever her name is, The Miseducation of Karen Post. I thought that one was okay, but it was too long. This book, Plain Bad Heroines, it was not good and too long. It was, I don't know, it's not the kind of book where I have fiery anger towards it, but it was just like really, really boring, and it was stretched out for so long in fact that I just like don't remember anything about the book. I don't remember the characters, I don't remember the plot, I don't remember what happened, I don't remember if there are any plot twists or lovable moments. I just really, 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 really wanted to finish it. Yeah, it was a huge disappointment because that one I was actually looking forward to. Book number 4 was another book that was bad, but it was also a disappointment because I was expecting to like it. It is Empress of the World. I wanted to read this because it is a classic queer book. It is from the early 2000s. Yeah, it looks like it was from 2001 or something like that, or 2000, I feel like it was 2003. Oh no, it was 2001. So this was over 20 years ago. So I was expecting it to be not up to the standards I have for modern LGBT books, but it was not enjoyable in any way. The main character was pretty not great, like not interesting in any way. I didn't find anything in my review, but I feel like there was some vague transphobia in here. I don't exactly remember, but I looked at this cover and I was like, I feel like that was transphobic. I don't remember why. But maybe there were some comments. But yeah, it was really disappointing. I didn't like it at all. And I usually like YA coming of age contemporaries, so very, very sad that I didn't like this, but it was not great, guys. It was no, read some other books. We're only on book number 5. We're only halfway through, and this is the 3rd book I'm mentioning from my book club. Y'all can join if you want to. The links are down below. The first 2 books were Shatter Me and Beautiful Creatures, and then another book from my book club that was terrible was The Fault in Our Stars. This was another low-key, like, disappointment. I was expecting to really like it because when I read it, I really, really enjoyed it. But no, it did not age well. I hated it. I mean, it was quite awful. The main character was insufferable. All the characters were insufferable. I remember people back in the day when this was popular saying that something about like the dialogue or the way that it was written felt too, like, I don't know, uptight and know-it-all. And I didn't mind that as a kid, but now reading it, oh, it was so bad. I mean, I wanted to commit an act of violence towards the characters. That's not nice to say, but they were just so annoying and like trying to be all wise when really. And there was like the weird Anne Frank scene. Why y'all making out in the Anne Frank house? It was just not great. Yeah, this one was more fun to hate read because it wasn't totally awful in the way that the writing was awful. That makes no sense. It was not great, okay? It wasn't like it wasn't boring, but it wasn't good, you know? Yeah, this was like 2 stars for me. I hated the relationship. All the characters were bad. The plot was bad. There was nothing satisfying about this. I didn't feel sad at all. I remember being really sad when I read it, but no longer. I'm really sad that this didn't live up to my memories, but it was not the best book, and I don't know why it was so popular. I know a lot of the books I mentioned weren't really new releases. A lot of them were throwback books I decided to read, but this one was a new release that I was really looking forward to. It's called The Ones Were Meant to Find. There we go. Yeah, The Ones Were Meant to Find, and it was a huge disappointment. I was really, really looking forward to this one, and I saw a lot of great reviews, and I still see a lot of great reviews, but I was just not digging it at all. I found it to be very, very confusing, and like so much so that I wasn't even sure if the book was written in multiple point of views. Like I was buddy reading it with a friend and I had to ask them, hey, is this written in two point of views or am I confused? Like I was very just confused the whole book. And you know what, sometimes that works for mystery thrillers where you're confused for most of the book and then slowly you get more information, but I just felt like the entire book I knew absolutely nothing. I couldn't even tell if the book was trying to go back and forth through different timelines. I don't know. I just like didn't know what was happening. I felt very, very unintelligent while reading it, and I don't like failing that way. So yeah, that was one of my biggest disappointments for 2021 because I was expecting to like it and it was like a new release. It was not an old book that I was expecting to hate. So yeah, that one was sad. I lied, I just looked at my list. It looks like there are some newer releases I have. Next is Lore, and I wanted to love this one so bad. I don't read a lot of fantasy. I don't like fantasy that much, but Greek mythology does have a little place in my heart because I really, really loved Percy Jackson growing up. I'm actually rereading all the Percy Jackson books right now, so I'm especially disappointed looking back while reading those books. But Lore is a YA fantasy book that's rooted in mythology, so I was like, you know what? I know I don't really read fantasy, but maybe this will be it. Maybe this will be the one to convert me to it, especially since I like mythology. Yeah, no, it didn't happen. It was so boring. This is another example of a book being so long for no good reason. I was listening to the audiobook and I was really starting to tune things out. I just like had no sense of the plot or characters by the end, not because it was poorly written, but because I just like wasn't paying attention because it wasn't holding my interest. So that was really sad. I really wanted to love it. I wanted it to be like the new Percy Jackson, or at least like a new introduction into YA fantasy, so hopefully I'd like it, but I gave off major early 2010 vibes, so if you like older YA books from that era, maybe you'll like it more, but it was just really, really disappointing. There was nothing special to it. And it wasn't even that there was nothing special, there was like nothing interesting at all. Even if it was just like a replica of other YA books, that'd be something, but this was just like literally nothing. It was not good. Number 8 is You've Reached Sam. Oh goodness, I was expecting this to be my like new favorite book. It is a YA contemporary. It's more magical realism than realistic fiction. No, it's straight up magical realism. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. But I thought it was gonna be so sad, but also cute and like break my heart. Oh my gosh, it did not do that. It just broke my brain. I was so bored. The cover is so cute and I was like, this looks adorable. No, I felt nothing. The main character was awful, so annoying. The plot was not really all that. It was not a really long book compared to some of these that I'm complaining about, but it felt very long. It took me like months to finish because I just didn't want to finish it, but I had to because I had an arc of it, and it was just a major disappointment. I really did not enjoy a single page of it. Maybe towards the ends, I kind of had a moment where I was like, oh, that was a decent scene, but other than that, oh, it was not great. It was so disappointing. Number 9 is an adult romance called Rescued for Christmas. If you watched my wrap-up that I just posted, you'll see me rant in there. But this was a book where I was like, I'm gonna branch out, I'm gonna read something different, no more just like straight up YA contemporaries. No, I'm gonna try a Christmas book because it's December, it's gonna be cute, it's gonna be lovely. No, that was a mistake. This book is super short. It's basically like a novella. I don't typically like adult romances, and this was not the book to try to convince me that maybe they're good. Oh, so bad. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like there's quite a few people who would enjoy it, but just like, some of the language just like, it was not, you know, like, God. It was very heteronormative and strong in its gender roles, and you know what, I know some people don't mind that, but like there were scenes, for example, so the main character, she's a woman who gets lost in a snowstorm, and then some other guy finds her and he's like, yeah, come to my house. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that because that sounds safe. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, whatever. But the guy has a daughter, so the main character thinks that this dude's, with someone, but he's not because his wife is dead. But like, but this woman still invites herself over, and she's like gonna cook them food or something, and then goes like, oh, I would never want to, use the cooking stuff of a other woman. Like, I wouldn't want to taint her cookware or whatever. What? Like, bro, just cook her food. Oh my gosh, it was just so bad. And like the language to describe the guy, oh, yeah. I don't have coherent thoughts. I just have like feelings of disgust, Okay, and then the 10th book, this is another book for my book club, but I didn't even rate it. I just like didn't have a rating because I didn't have brain cells. But low-key, those 9 books that I mentioned were the only books in 2021 that I rated 1 or 2 stars. Literally everything else was 3 stars and up. Again, probably because I don't finish books that I'm not enjoying. So I just added this last book because I gave it no rating and I didn't like it anyways. But it is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It was boring. And that's all I gotta say. I mean, like, I comprehended none of it because I didn't want to read it. I don't know why I forced myself to finish it, but I was determined since it was for the book club and I wanted to discuss it, but it was not great. I didn't like the character. He was very annoying, and sometimes I like annoying main characters, but this one was not it. It was a little too, like, cool and edgy, but it wasn't working, So yeah, that was a disappointment, but also I was expecting to be disappointed, so maybe I was just setting myself up for a bad time. And that is my list of 10 bad and disappointing books from 2021. If y'all have read any of them, let me know your thoughts. If you've read any of them and you actually liked them, definitely tell me your thoughts because I love to hear different perspectives. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all again sometime. Yeah, alright, bye-bye. I like, it was not, like, God. Oh, it was so bad.